monkey branching and long distance. This is the topic for today's video. As always, from time to time, I'm going to throw in monkey branching video because I know it's very popular. You guys enjoy them very much. But specifically, in this case, this monkey branching scenario comes from a female subscriber. And she details her background, his background, and ultimately how she found out that he monkey branched on her. So whether you are a man or a woman watching, there is a lot of value to extract from this. Without further ado, let's get right into it. Because this is going to be a long one, as most of them are. So if he writes in, I'm going to keep her and his name private. So I'm going to use Jimmy and Jessica. So Jessica writes in and says, "Hello, Christian. I really wanted to tell you what happened, so be prepared to read. Now, first and foremost, I want to tell you a little bit about me and my ex's backgrounds and lifestyle. My name is Jessica. I live in Germany. I'm 20 years old, and my hobbies are sports and dancing ballet for over 10 years. Now, here's how you're going to see she's a good woman. I eat clean, I'm a vegetarian, and I study psychology in a university. I have a good relationship with my mum and dad. My dad died of cancer when I was really young, but my parents always had a great relationship. Now listen to this. And I love my dad for everything he was, and I want to make him proud every day, no matter what. I had him for a while in my life, so I don't think I have any daddy issues." See, she respects her father and mother, especially her father, and she carries his memory with her. She wants to make him proud. "I also want to add that I'm an introvert and a lonely person. I'm very alone, and I hang out mostly with my mother, and I don't really have any friends around me. I love to be alone and focus on myself 100%. I don't smoke, don't drink, don't go clubbing, and I don't party. I hate it. I love spirituality, and I believe strongly in the universe and God's plan. That's a little bit about me." Now, she also told me that she's a Christian, and she's had no previous sexual partners, and obviously this relationship was long distance, and that she's actually a virgin. She also mentioned to me that she strongly believes in relationships and marriage, and that her biggest dream is to be a wife and a mother. What have I always told you guys about good women? They keep their purity, they keep their value, and they want to be naturally feminine. They embrace their femininity. They embrace motherhood and wifehood. They want a family. They want to have a good man in their life. As I've said to you guys, there are good women out there. This is an example of one. Also, she sent me a few pictures. She's a very pretty young lady. She's 20 years old, at the peak of her beauty and fertility. And with her values and her mindset, she's going to be just fine. So this is her background. Now we're going to see her ex's background, which I'm going to call Jimmy. So she said, "Now my ex's, his name is Jimmy. He's 3 years older than me and has a few bad habits that really bothered me." Well, that's the key here. It really bothered me. You see, when you're with someone and there is compatibility in lifestyles, in value, in daily habits, it's not going to bother you. Nothing's going to worry you or upset you. Because when you're with someone and you share the overall compatibility on what is important, you're going to connect with them. You're going to understand them. You both are going to grow together and individually in the right path. Because you enjoy the same things, you have the same outlook on life, the same belief system, it's easier to get along, sail smoothly. But when you meet someone, for the men and women watching, and you start to see things in their habits that bother you, that's something you might want to look deeper into. "He loves to drink alcohol and hangs around with people who do not serve him, and he gets into trouble a lot." He loves to drink alcohol. So he uses alcohol as a coping mechanism, which we're going to see now why. And he hangs around with the wrong people. So he doesn't have any self-awareness. He doesn't have high standards for his friends. Remember what I've said before. Bad company corrupts good morals. So he doesn't seem to have a good self-esteem, and he hangs around people that are not good for him because he's insecure. But not only that, he's using the alcohol as a coping mechanism. Strong masculine men remain sober-minded. They don't need to use substances or unhealthy forms of pleasure to make themselves feel better about themselves, right? That's just the way it is. And he got into trouble a lot. What does it say about this man? He was living with his dad, who was also drinking in front of him, and they were fighting a lot. Well, that's definitely what left the imprint on him. And seeing his father drinking a lot, he emulated his habits and started doing the same thing. His mother was cheating on his dad with another man, and he lacks to have a good relationship with his mother. I remember him calling her a bitch. Hope that's YouTube friendly. I'm sure that also accounts for him and his dad since they fought a lot. So just to break this down, there's some serious red flags. So now you guys can understand, why was this guy drinking a lot? Why was he hanging around the wrong people? Well, he didn't have a good influence. He didn't have good parents to teach him what people he should hang around with and what people he should avoid. Therefore, he doesn't have a basic blueprint of values and morals, a code to live by. So he's living a life from an emotional perspective, off of pleasure, off of lust, off of insecurity, off of fear. And he's making the wrong choices, choosing the wrong people in his life, the wrong friends, unhealthy habits. But not only that, this man doesn't respect his father. He's fighting with his dad, and he also doesn't respect his mother. You see, if you grow up in a home and you see your mother cheat on your father and you don't heal from that, that's a wound that you can carry for years and years and years. And that's also going to affect your relationships. Because if you don't heal from that, your outlook on life is going to be, well, since my own mother cheated on my father, I guess all women cheat. So what's he going to do? He's going to become bitter, angry towards women. He's never going to know how to properly trust in a woman, let alone appreciate the qualities in a good feminine woman. And he's always going to be fearful of her cheating on him. And oftentimes, more than not, he himself could become unfaithful. Right? So he's got mummy issues. The same way I've mentioned in previous videos, what do women do when they have daddy issues? They also become promiscuous. They also become cheaters as a way to get back at the father for what he did to the mother and him or her. So in this case, his mother is a cheater. He clearly hasn't forgiven her since he's called her such a lovely name. And he's fighting with the father, so he's angry at both of them. That's how he's expressing his pain. And he's using the alcohol to bottle it all up and avoid it and suppress it. You can keep it down below, but it's like a Coke bottle with a few Mentos. You shake it and it's going to explode. So he's putting all his pain and he's locking it up and hiding it away. But that's going to come out in some very unhealthy habits and lifestyle choices, as you're going to see throughout this email. So understand, he has mummy issues. He's not going to ever know how to properly love or trust a woman. And since his parents were both bad, he's fighting with both of them, what does this do to his self-esteem? Is this man really going to become masculine, strong and confident? Is he going to be able to lead himself and a woman and children, a family? I don't think so, unless he heals. You think about that. So that's the breakdown of both of them. Now we're going to get into her story. Now back to me and him. I'm only going to mention the biggest red flags that happened throughout our relationship. So don't be surprised if you only hear all the negative things. Well, I don't have to be surprised. Just by his background, I already know what's coming. 2018. I met him online and we had a great connection since the very beginning. We both fell in love with each other and started to connect through Skype and FaceTime. After 1 year, 2019, he was ready to leave for the army, and that's when everything changed. That is very respectable, and technically that should discipline him and make him more masculine, because how does masculinity grow? Through challenge, through adversity, right? Under pressure. And if he's going to the military, that should toughen him up, not just physically, but mentally. His behavior towards me in the military started to become more distant, but I knew he was busy a lot. That's why it didn't bother me at first. But him and his buddies were drinking a lot in the weekends, and he started to call me often while he was drunk. Remember what she said in the breakdown of his background? He liked to drink a lot. Now you're seeing it come out. But because we know about his family background, we understand why he's always consuming alcohol. Because he's in a lot of pain. Childhood trauma. Doesn't know how to trust his parents. So, but him and his buddies were drinking a lot on the weekends, and he called me often while he was drunk. Okay. He went to bars and clubs every weekend, and I was worried a lot about what might happen while he was there. One time he posted a bunch of girls on his Snapchat, and he deleted the posts a few hours later when he woke up the next morning, and apologized for what happened. That is when my depression and anxiety increased. I had a hard time dealing with this. Let's break it down. So he's off drinking, and by the way, for anybody, you can research this. There is a link between people who consume high levels of alcohol and promiscuity and infidelity. It does happen. This is why I myself haven't touched a drop of alcohol since 2017, and I will never drink again. And as a Christian, you really shouldn't be. God calls you to be sober-minded. And her as a Christian girl should have seen this in his behaviour. No compatibility there. So this guy's out drinking with his buddies, and now he's going clubbing. And he's going to bars. What do I always tell you guys about women? Good women, when they're in a relationship, whether you live far away, or you live next to each other, or you live together, they come home to you. They come home to their place. They text you, they call you. When they finish work, when they finish university classes, or whatever it is that they're doing. So what would make a man, in this case, want to go to a club or a bar when he's in a relationship? Does he need attention? Because if he's going to these venues, there's going to be women, beautiful, single, promiscuous women looking to hook up and have fun. And if he's drinking and he's under the influence, he loses control of his emotional center. He can make some serious mistakes that can affect his relationship with Jessica. Good women come home, but for you ladies watching it, good men also come home. If you're a woman watching this and you have a boyfriend, or you're considering whether you should move in with this guy and maybe marry him one day, I'm telling you right now, good men are not going to be doing this. They're going to want to come home to you. Good men do not put themselves in an environment where single women can hit on them, especially if he is under the influence. He knows he could be taken advantage of because of his emotions, and he could make a mistake. Therefore, he's just not going to allow that to happen, because in the first place, he will avoid going to those locations. He will avoid putting himself in those situations. The same way I tell you men, good women also avoid going to clubs and bars, because not only out of respect for themselves, but out of respect for you. A good female isn't going to go to those locations because she knows if she's drunk, men that are horny, single, lustful are going to try and take advantage of her. It's really that simple. There is nothing else to say on that. So this guy's raising some serious red flags. So he goes to clubs, he goes to bars, which is a red flag in of itself. And innately, she's worried a lot about what might happen. And then here's the old coinky-dink. One time, he posts a bunch of girls on his Snapchat. And then he deletes the post. He deletes the post a few hours later when he woke up, and then apologizes. Well, he really shot himself in the foot there, because he exposed himself. He showed you, talking to you now, Jessica, he showed you what he was doing behind your back. He wasn't going there to have a few beers with his buddies and watch the game. He was going there to interact and have fun with girls. This guy is not relationship material. So, carrying on with the email. There was a long time where I didn't have a normal sober conversation with him, and he only called me when he had a few beers. I was never sure what he did behind my back since that happened, but I tried to trust him. Trust is like reputation. It takes months and years, sometimes even decades to build up. All we need is one mistake, one screw up, and you ain't getting it back. Trust is like a broken glass, as I've said before. If you break it and you try and piece it together with super glue, it will still have the form of a glass, but it has all the cracks in it. You see, all those little cracks, all those broken pieces glued together represent that mistrust that can break at any time. You'll never trust this guy again. But what she said here is interesting. She said, I did try and trust him, and I was never sure what he did behind my back. Again, absolutely. How can you? You're in Germany, this guy's over in the States doing his military training, and you're seeing what he's doing online. Again, you're not around him. You have to go off of blind faith and trust. But now he's doing things. He's showing you through his behaviour who he is. You can't trust this guy. So for any of you guys and women watching, if you're with the wrong person, or you're not sure if they're right for you, just observe what they do. Give them enough rope to hang themselves, so to speak. Okay? See what they do when you're not around, when no one's watching, when they think you're not watching. Because eventually the truth comes out. So, interesting how she said, I didn't have a normal sober conversation with him. He only called when he had a few beers. Remember, he grew up in a dysfunctional home. He didn't learn how to communicate healthily, which is a problem, because a masculine man that is in control of his feelings, he is direct, he is decisive, he is straightforward, he is upfront. That is masculine. He doesn't dilly-daddle. He doesn't go through the back door. He doesn't use passive forms of communication. That is what females do. Masculine men are in your face. They talk to you with eye contact. They say what they need to say. So in this case, because we know his masculinity was damaged in his childhood and his communication skills were also shattered, what happens? Now he's using alcohol, since he uses it as a coping mechanism. In this case, he's utilizing it as a way to talk to you. So when he does want to talk to you, because he's too afraid to do that when he's sober, he calls you after he's had a few beers. Sometimes you might hear people refer to alcohol as liquid courage. Insecure men and women will use alcohol, get a little bit tipsy and drunk, and then they'll phone you, then they'll call you. Because that's how they feel safe and comfortable in that toxic environment under the influence, which is unhealthy in of itself. So he's calling her when he's intoxicated. That's how he's communicating when he's under the influence of alcohol. Nothing more to say on that. Sometimes he stopped texting me for a week or a few days. Definitely having fun at the club and the bars. He didn't improve for months, and I told him he should stop calling me, because that was the only time I heard from him when he was drunk. I always gave him a chance, and I forgave him every time he did this. The biggest issue was that he forgot everything he did the next day, and I had to explain why he hurt me and what he did. Guys, women need to feel heard and understood. They need to feel safe and comfortable in your presence. It doesn't matter if you're on a business trip, it doesn't matter if you're halfway around the world and you're on a FaceTime, on a video call, or you live together and you're in the flesh. She needs to feel protected by you, that she can trust in you to lead her, take care of her, and that when she speaks her mind, her emotions, she knows that you're there for her. Right? Women want a man they can depend on. This is why you must be a dependable man, an independent man. The female is always dependent on the masculine. Men lead, women follow. That's the way it is. So she's trying to talk to him. This is what you've done to me. This is how you hurt me. You only call me when you're drunk. Things need to change. She kept giving him a chance, kept forgiving him. Right? So as you can see, now her emotional attraction is slowly dropping because he's not making her feel loved. valued, and appreciated. To make everything better, he sent me on my birthday a bunch of flowers, chocolates, and a stuffed animal to my house. I felt so happy, and the next months seemed to be doing great. This is something I want you all to know. That is very sweet, him doing that, but there's a reason why he's doing that. You see, when you have an argument, when you have a fight, when your needs aren't met, especially when it comes through communication, that's where the issue starts. That's where the issue has to end. So if you're having a communication problem with this Jimmy guy, Jessica, he shouldn't need to send you chocolates and gifts as a way to make up for that. He should make up for that by communicating, by letting you talk, making you feel heard and understood, bringing you back to a place where you're calm and stable and feel like you can trust him again. That is what a masculine man would do. A man who does not know how to communicate and doesn't understand women, this is what he will do. Because he doesn't know how to be direct and communicate and open you up emotionally, he's going to substitute meeting your needs by giving you a gift, giving you a present, giving you something material to make you feel like he cares. Well, it will feel good because it's like, oh, he cares. It's not genuine, right? If you have a fight with someone, you don't make up for it by giving them a present or a gift. You make up for it through your behavior, through your actions, through communication, and you show it consistently over time. So he's using the gifts and a present because since he doesn't have those communication skills to where he knows how to open you up and make you feel feminine again, he thinks, fine, what can I do? Right, I'll buy her something. Which is still going to be sweet because I'm sure he'd never done that to you up until that point. But understand that, that's how it goes deep. He still doesn't know what to do. I felt so happy and the next month seemed to be going great. In 2020, he promised he would come to me on Christmas for 2 weeks, and I was very excited about this. So I decided to give him gifts as well and bought a package filled with gifts that I bought from my own money. I thought this would improve our relationship. So I put a few personal items inside and sent the package to his base in America. She said in brackets, you will know why I mentioned this, by the way. I'll send a picture of it down below. Yeah, she also sent me a picture of all the things she did. She bought him a letter with their names on it. Very sweet. After a while, he told me that his friends tell him things like, she just fucks with you, man, and she could have another dude by her side. Why are you with her? He did agree with this and started to doubt me more often. Isn't it funny how he's the guy who posts on his story a picture with all these girls and he has the audacity to question if you're faithful to him? This is the way cheaters are. Because they cheat on other people, they think other people cheat on them. It's a different story if you are somebody who's been betrayed in the past and due to that trauma, you question if your partner's faithful to you. That's different. But in this case, she's always been faithful to this guy. She's been a good communicator. She texts him back. She calls him back. She doesn't have any friends. She doesn't club or party. She's always with her mother. What reason would this guy, and she's a virgin, so what reason would this guy possibly think to have that he would cheat on her? His friends are a bad influence. I know this because I'm going to make a video on this. The ex I had from 2017, 2018, her friend who was a 304, right? For anyone who doesn't know what that is, type 304 into a calculator, put it upside down, and it spells HOE, YouTube friendly. Her friend was my ex's friend was this very, very promiscuous girl who was cheating on her boyfriend. And she had the audacity to tell my ex that, I'm sure Christian is cheating on you. Because that's the way cheaters think. Reminds me of that, because this is what unfaithful people do. That is their mindset. That is their outlook on life. They think everybody's like them. So, yeah, his friends are not a good influence, and they lead him down the wrong path. I can see now what she means. So he agrees with them, and now he starts to doubt her. When he's the only one that's given her a reason to believe that he could be unfaithful. She's never done anything that would indicate she's unfaithful, but yet he believes his friends. I didn't understand why he believes them and not me when we were together for so long. Keep in mind this guy, his mother cheated on his father. Imagine that you're growing up and you see your mum, the woman that gave birth to you, betray your father. If you don't take the time to recover from that and just accept maybe my mum was screwed up, if he doesn't do that, what is that going to do to his outlook on relationships and loyalty? He's going to think, if my own mother is a cheater, then maybe other women are cheaters too. Keep in mind, that trauma, that childhood trauma, is also going to play a big role. Not just his friends influencing him and poisoning him, but that trauma is going to make an impact too on his understanding that maybe you were cheating on him. And then the third reason why he's going to assume that you're cheating on him is because he's cheating on you. Now, let's carry on with the email. He should know better, and he accused me that I cheat on him and that I talk to other guys while he isn't around. I always tried to fix everything, but it didn't always work. We talked every day, but I just couldn't feel the same love he gave me in the beginning. What did I mention before? Her emotional attraction for him is dropping. He doesn't trust in her, he's not showing her any love, any respect. This is destroying her ability to feel safe and comfortable. And when a woman cannot feel that way around you, she will withdraw. Even though the way she feels physically about you won't change, emotionally, which is what really matters, that will start to fade away. That is how people fall out of love. He's accusing her, I don't believe you, I don't believe you. This is what it does. We talked every day, but I just couldn't feel the same love he gave me in the beginning. He made me feel like a whore who would sleep around with other guys, even though that wasn't the case. I always thought to myself why he would think that of me and not think for himself. Low self-esteem. He's got low self-esteem. This man, a guy that is strong, in control of his emotions, of his life, he's not going to let other people think for him, unless he's a liberal. Sometimes he asks me random questions like, do you have a boyfriend, or are you seeing someone else? And I would immediately try and let him know that he is my boyfriend, that I'm home alone, that I love him 100%. He was very controlling, and at some point he would start to get mad for no reason. One thing that is common with cheaters is when they are betraying you, because there is some level of guilt deep down in their broken sense of self, they will get angry and mad at you as a way to push you away, to justify why they're betraying you. Because the reality is they don't have a motive other than their unselfishness and lack of integrity and fear of dumping you and being alone. So because they've got to line up a replacement and monkey branch on you, and that does require a level of shame and guilt to even do that, what happens is they will start to get mad at you and cause fights and arguments to push you away. So then they can start to paint you as a villain. So in his mind, he's thinking, yeah, she's fighting with me, she's rude, she's nasty to me. Yeah, we're having all these arguments. Yeah, I'm trying to justify to myself why I'm a scumbag. That's basically what he's doing. Even though it, to you and me, to everybody watching, makes no logical sense, that's just what cheaters do. They've got to give themselves a reason why they're dumping you. And when they can't find one, they will get upset, they will cause fights and arguments, which will also give them an excuse to distance themselves and explore the new branch they're going to swing to. In August, I noticed that he pulled off and took a longer time. He pulled away and took a longer time to respond for days, and he left me undelivered for hours. Sometimes I call him online on other platforms, but he didn't respond to my texts. A few months later in October, my package finally arrived at his place, and for some reason he became even more distant. You can't buy love. You can't negotiate love, respect, or attraction. This is why gift giving is something you should only ever do, whether you're a man or a woman, on special occasions, such as an anniversary, Christmas, a birthday, something small here and there from time to time, because the true gift is you. If you're a man watching, you are the gift to the woman in your life. And if you're a woman watching, you have to be a gift to him. It is your presence, your time, you. That's why they're dating. They're dating you for you, or at least they should be. Unless they're a gold digger or they're using you, then they're going to want presents and gifts in excess. Because buying someone something as a show of love and affection, it can be sweet, but it's not you. It's just an object that's tangible. And what happens to human beings? When we receive a present from someone, it's nice and sweet in the moment, but you just end up taking it for granted over time. So even though you're sending him this package and it arrives, it's not going to suddenly make him more into you. It's not suddenly going to make him want to love you more, especially if he's a cheater. It's just going to make him feel even more guilty to even look at or open the package, because it is a sign of your affection towards him. And that is still not enough to make him want to commit to you and be faithful to you. That has to come from him. Nothing you will say or do can ever make somebody be loyal to you. It is their choice. He took a long time to find the package, and it didn't seem like he appreciated the stuff I gave him. Or was I just saying? He didn't give me clear feedback and ignored me even more. In November, he completely shut me out. He ignored me for days, disappeared, and his replies became shorter and shorter. He avoided me all the time, and I stopped texting him as much as I used to see his reaction, but it didn't work. I tried to show him that I care and sent him a bunch of pictures of my face and shared with him everything I could. I didn't think to myself that he cheated because I was so sure that I'm a great girlfriend for him. You could be the perfect girlfriend, you could be the perfect wife. If you're with a man that doesn't have integrity, or in this case, not only lacks integrity, but he came from a background where he witnessed infidelity, he didn't heal, and he's got mummy issues, don't expect that guy to be loyal to you. Because he's always going to be with you for the wrong reasons. He didn't have an example of what a good woman should be in his life. So even though he has you, which is a good woman, he can't even value that. He can't even appreciate that. All he sees is someone who's going to cheat on him. So in his mind, he thinks, I'm going to have to cheat on you before it happens to me. I know it's sick and twisted, but that's how they think. I couldn't imagine that he would do this to me after we've been together for so long. Actions speak louder than words. Look at what he did. There was no way he would, but he did. In November, he suddenly texted me, I don't think we're together. We shouldn't talk like that until I'm actually with you. I started to panic and I didn't know how to help the situation. He told me we should be friends and that he couldn't trust me while he's away. Translation, because he doesn't even trust himself, because he knows what he's doing to you, he thinks you're doing the same thing to him. I said no and tried to get him to trust me and fix everything I could. This was never about you, Jessica. This was about him, his lack of character, his lack of morals. I called him a bunch of times, but he ignored all of it. I told him that he should make it clear if he still wants to be together with me, but he just wanted to be friends. And told me that I deserve better. Well, that's a very true statement. You do deserve better. I asked him if he was cheating on me, and all he said was no, and that he promised he would never do this to me. Then he stopped texting me, and I just went silent until Christmas started. He didn't bother to say happy birthday to me, and ignored me. Her birthday was around December. When New Year started, he still didn't say anything, and I was really depressed at the time. I cried every night and had no sleep whatsoever. And Christmas wasn't going the way I imagined. I knew he had Facebook, so I did some research for myself, and when I looked at one of his friends' page, I saw a picture of him and another girl kissing each other. She looked nothing like me and was less attractive. She was overweight, smokes, and has tattoos and piercings. So he downgraded for an unattractive, low quality woman. I'll read that again. She looked nothing like me, was less attractive, she was overweight, smokes, and has tattoos and piercings. That is very unattractive indeed. When I did more research, I found out that he already met her in September and they were together the entire time. This explains his odd behaviour. It all finally made sense to me and I went no contact. He didn't bother to text me again. It was hard for me to believe this because he still called me baby and beautiful while he was with her in the late summer and kept it a secret the entire time. He was leading me on. I never thought he would date someone behind my back, but he never mentioned it. Why would he? How would that make him look? Because he knew you were a good woman, you hadn't done anything wrong to him, you were faithful and kind and loving, and you were showing that you care. So it's going to make him feel even worse if you knew what he was doing. That's the truth. It all made sense to me. We're still in no contact, and they're still together. He also kept me a secret to her. But I wasn't there, so maybe she knew or forced him to break up, or he was hiding the package somewhere. But I'm so glad that it happened and that it's over. I'm still wondering what happened to all my gifts. Well, that's a mystery. I'm still healing and I feel better every day. Good. Well, at least she was smart enough to go no contact and start the healing process because she obviously saw he's been cheating on me. I've got enough self-respect. I'm going to walk away. I don't blame him though. I know I had no chance against a female who saw him in real life, but I just wish he told her that he's taken. Nothing to do with that. A faithful man is going to remain faithful. Doesn't matter how many years you are with him. Whether you live with him or he's away on a business trip. Or you're in long distance. Different states, different countries, different continents. A faithful man will remain that way. The same way a faithful woman will also remain that way. Think about it. You're in Germany, he was in America. You're a good looking girl. You didn't put yourself in environments where men could get close to you, and even if they did, you would always turn them down because you have integrity. You weren't in person with him. There were other men that could have gotten closer to you in real life. You didn't let them because you are faithful because it's who you are. Look at his actions. This woman approached him, he probably met her at a club, one of the bars. He wanted that. That's what he was going there. That was his choice. It's nothing to do with you. You could put him in a room with 50 models, but if he respects you and loves you, he's not gonna get close to any of them because he's faithful. But look at his actions. What do they say? He wanted this. It's nothing to do with you not having a chance. If he was a real man, no woman would have a chance with him because he'd only have you in his heart. But clearly he did. He's a damaged man. He's got childhood trauma he hasn't healed from. This is nothing to do with you. This is a reflection of his lack of character. And it's nothing to do with male nature or female nature. I don't really like using those terms. It's just human nature. But in this case, it is the nature of a liar, the nature of a cheater, the nature of someone who's emotionally damaged. This is what's going on. Who knows what else happened behind my back while I wasn't with him? Well, you're lucky. You're 20 years old. It could have been worse. You could have gone to America, moved in with him, had 2 kids, then he cheats and leaves. Then you're a single mom with 2 kids. But that didn't happen. Your integrity and your purity is intact. You're at the peak of your fertility, of your beauty. You have very good traits. Now you can heal and go out there and find a good man who will appreciate you. That's it. Sometimes you need a breakup to educate you, to grow from, to improve. That's it. I loved him so much, I thought I was so lucky to have him, and I don't think I've ever felt for a person this much before. I couldn't believe he did this to me. I took it personally because I would have never done that to him. Exactly. That's the key here. You would have never done that to him. Which is why there could have been hundreds of men DMing you on Instagram or wanting to talk to you at university. But because you would never do that to him, you never let a guy close. If women get close to him, it's because he's allowing it. A good man doesn't engage or give women any indicators, any choosing signals for them to get close to him. Something tells me that it's better to let it completely go and let him live the life he wants, because in the end, he can only choose this and decide what truly makes him happy, and I can't force love. Exactly. Smart girl. He needs to build his future the way he wants, and I need to allow it and accept it that he has the freedom, even though it's hard. I came so far already, but it still triggers me a little. But it's good as long as he's happy. All my suffering will one day disappear. It is hard for me. I would have worked it out, but God truly knows what's meant for me. I know this is long, but I had to write it. Well, that's an example of monkey branching and long distance. So, for you men and women watching, take this very seriously. She's lucky it was in long distance. She didn't get pregnant. She didn't get married. She didn't move in. She didn't sleep with this dude. She can start fresh. When you meet someone, never ignore the red flags. I'm always going to be talking about this because this is what I teach. It's essential. Don't fall into that trap of limerence. I'm a good man. I can change her. Or in this case, I'm a good woman. I can fix him. They're not your children. They're not your dogs or your cats. It's not a pet. It's a grown person that makes their own choices, has their own free will. You can only help someone that wants to be helped. And a real man should have already done the work or be doing the work on himself all the time. Because the problem with this guy wasn't the alcohol, it's what's beneath it. It's the childhood trauma. It's witnessing the infidelity with his parents, the unhappiness he saw. If he grows up in an unhappy home, do you think that's not going to affect his outlook on relationships? Well, if I grew up in an unhappy home and my parents don't love each other, then I guess marriage and relationships are all terrible. That's the way he's going to see it. My mother cheated on my dad. Fine, I'll do it too. That's how these damaged people sometimes express their pain. But he runs from it. He runs from it instead of addressing it and dealing with it like a man. So he starts to hit the bottle. Then he gets into a relationship, meets this good woman, can't appreciate or value it because he's so broken inside. She tried to nurture and care for him. Did it work? No. Because you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. It is up to him. If he doesn't have enough self-awareness, or enough maturity, or enough willpower, right, to want to improve, he's not going to. So for men and women watching this video, I encourage you, when you meet someone, choose a partner that has the same core values, belief system, lifestyle, and habits as you. It's going to make things so much easier. Someone who's ready, willing, able to date. Not someone who's not over an ex, or not over issues from friendships or finances or childhood trauma, because that's going to affect their ability to be with you and be with you for the right reasons. They will stay with you out of insecurity, out of loneliness. They will settle. They won't communicate properly. They will have a fear of committing to you. It will be a struggle. And in the process, you'll hurt yourself because you'll be trying and nothing will be working. If this man really wanted to help himself, he would have. At least right now, the point where he's at in his life, he doesn't want to. But the good news is she didn't meet him in person. She didn't have kids with him. She didn't get married. She can start fresh. And it's going to be much easier for her to recover, as opposed to if she did put herself into a deeper commitment with him where there was more involved. So if you guys are watching this, do not avoid red flags. If you meet someone and you start to find out they have unhealthy habits, especially if it's anything to do with substance abuse, drugs, or alcohol, understand it's not about that. There's something deeper going on. And if they're at the point where they're using those substances in the first place, it ain't your job to fix. Let them go. But if you don't want to do that, go ahead and ruin your life. That's up to you. So, with that said, guys, this is the video for today. Hope you all enjoyed it. If you're new to the channel, by all means, subscribe. And if any of you want to reach out to me privately, whether it's booking a coaching call or sharing a situation such as this one, send me an email, which will be down in the description and on the About tab on the YouTube channel. And if you enjoyed the video, feel free to share it with all your friends and family that may benefit from this. So with that said, hope you'll have a great day, and I'll see you all in the next one.